Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Cat's Track. We post an interview with an amazing Canadian each weekday for your daily inspiration. Today, I would like to introduce you to my friend, Mario Toneguzzi. Mario was born in Ottawa and now lives in Calgary and loves it here. He's married to his amazing wife, and they have 3 awesome children. Besides his loved ones, Mario is also passionate about being outside in nature, reading, faith, and spirituality. Friend, you'll find his full bio attached. Mario, thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thanks for having me.
Are you ready for the questions that we sent your way?
I sure am.
Awesome. Okay. Well, the first one being, what has been your greatest challenge over the last few months?
Well, the biggest challenge, obviously, is being in Calgary is the economy and some of the tough things that has brought along with it, right? And Calgary is kind of you're hit with a double whammy, right? In Calgary for the last 6 years, I guess, going on from the latter half of 2014 when oil prices started to collapse. That started to have a huge impact on people and on businesses in Calgary. And then, of course, in mid-March with the COVID pandemic, that has had a lot of impact too. So, that has, both of those have a huge trickle-down effect on people. We see thousands of people laid off in Calgary, over the last 5 years or so. We see business closures still going on, whether it's in the oil patch or now more so, whether it's retail or restaurants, etc. So, and that all has an impact on everybody. I'm a businessman myself, right? And I look for clients and I look for people to do work for, and it hasn't been easy in many ways because of those challenges.
Yeah, no doubt. And here I thought you were going to say it's you getting COVID was the biggest challenge.
You know what that was, and just for people out there, a brief synopsis of what happened to me in mid-March. I was in Montreal visiting my daughter, and I came back, and I believe I would have got COVID there or at the airport or on the plane, who knows? But then again, nobody really knows where you get it from, right? But I had it in mid-March. I had some very high fevers for about 3 or 4 days. I remember waking up in the middle of the night, like 2 or 3 in the morning, and literally soaked in sweat and wondering what the heck was going on, because it was like I was in a tub. That's how much I was sweating. And but once the fevers went, all I had was, well, I shouldn't say all, but I had this nasty cough for a long time. So I was under quarantine and basically lived in my bedroom for 4 weeks. Could not move out of there until until the cough was gone, and then I was symptom free, so to speak.
How fortunate to have family to be able to shove a food under the door for you.
Oh man, it was like room service. It was kind of funny. My wife or the kids would say they'd bring up food and put it by the doorstep, and I'd wait till they were gone, and then I'd open my bedroom door and bring the food in, and I had a whole pile of garbage. Right? They were initially we were doing on plates, but because of safety, they just thought, it's probably better, let's just do it in paper plates and stuff. So it was just a huge pile in my bedroom when it was all said and done.
Did you get through all the Netflix that month?
What's that, sorry?
Did you get through all the Netflix that month?
No, but you know what? I discovered something else my daughter did. What was it called? It was, is it Tubi? I think it's Tubi. It was a free TV net thing, right? Or free streaming thing, and it had a lot of TV shows and a lot of movies. But it was funny because I started watching some of the old TV shows, and for any audience that's probably under 40, they probably won't get this, but I was watching the initial Bonanza series, and I watched the official or the initial Beverly Hillbillies series. So it was I kind of amused between doing that and between work, and I actually worked like crazy during that time because nothing else to do but work or watch the videos. That's basically what I did.
Awesome. Uh, and what about the three things that you'd like to share with the audience today?
The three things. Okay, I'm trying to remember. So three things. One, one of the things that, well, just a quick story about myself. I was laid off at the Herald in January of 2016. Yeah, 2016. So it was 4.5 years. And, uh, from there, it was it was tough initially because for someone like myself, I don't know, basically 40 years in the newspaper business, right? And that's all I did. It was in my blood. That's all I thought I'd ever do. Had my kind of dream job type thing, all that type of stuff. And so when things like that happen to you or anybody, it really takes the wind out of your sails, right? It really becomes a huge blow initially. And the one good thing that happened, and it's kind of one of the messages I wanted to share with people, the one good thing that happened is that I was given a transition thing with the Herald. It gave me, you go talk to an HR type person about, helping you with your resume and all that type of stuff and finding work. But what I've discovered was one day was kind of a light, going off in the brain, is when this lady who's facilitating it talked about how you need to look at your skills and what you have and what those skills can be used for in other areas. And a lot of the stuff that we do as journalists, okay, it's not just the writing, right? There's a lot of other stuff. There's a communication part of it. There's the relationship building. There's the deadlines and working under pressure and deadlines, working and, multitasking, all that type of stuff. So I kind of, as I said, the light bulb clicked for me is that, okay, I've got all these different skills. I don't need to be working at a daily newspaper. And quite frankly, the jobs in daily newspapers are pretty minimal these days anyways, right? So there was really no opportunity there. So it opened the door for me to look at different ways of how I could use my skills. And so just as an aside, over the last few years, I've done really different things that I never thought I would do. Something like I was editing a script for a lady who wanted to talk about, she had want to do a YouTube video about her experiences where she had lost her entire family in the Rwanda genocide,
Oh,
right? So yeah, so she had a script, and her English wasn't the greatest, right? So I actually edited her script. I've done things like ghostwrite pieces where an executive would have something to say, in a spot in a trade magazine. And so I'd write the piece for them and they'd just basically put their name on it, right? So that was the key. That was a really, really huge key for me, right? The other thing, coming through that experience, which one should I put first? I'll put the support first. You really, really have to have a network of support out there. I was lucky. First of all, your support comes in two ways. It's it's the family and friends, and B, it's the professional network. So I was lucky on both counts, right? I have great family, great friends who were very supportive through everything, that I went through. And that's great for you, right? And then the second side of it is the professional side is you really need, it just came naturally to me over the years of building these relationships with people. But it really became evident in how important that was, when, I was laid off and without a job, right? And because that's when you sort of metaphorically go door knocking and bring in all that network of people to look for work or look for jobs or contracts or all that type of stuff. So that to me is extremely important. No matter what you're going through in your life and your business, etc., you need that support network. The third thing about all this, and again, it's whether it's a COVID that you mentioned or whether it's being laid off. For me, it's your attitude, right? I won't mention any names, but I had a friend who went through the same experience as I did, and man, that person was bitter and angry, right, etc. And that doesn't help, right?
Yeah.
And I learned, not to say everything is nice and rosy, right? Because I've gone through my times as too, even to this day, like I don't think anybody who is at a place for 35 years and then is let go can just automatically just shut the emotions off and move on, right? You carry some of that stuff with you, and every once in a while I'll think about some stuff or etc., right? But for 95% of the time or so, right, it's really important to have that positive attitude, right, about things. And yeah, it's cliche-ish about the half glass empty or full type thing, but it's so true, right? It's so true. And and it's even in meeting people, like people get your aura off of you, so to speak, right? Just the way you are, right? And meeting and how you've met those challenges. So if you carry this weight and this burden on your shoulders, they're going to see that weight and burden. And why would they be interested in engaging in you, whether it's professionally or even personally, really, right? So I think I've learned that you really do have to be positive and have that positive energy, no matter what your circumstances. And I love quotes, right? And I post quotes all the time on my Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter, and it's always kind of these positive type quotes, and they're always about stuff like this: is that it's not the circumstances, right? It's how you react to the circumstances, and that's what make them bad, good, or ugly, right? So yeah.
You've always been extremely positive from the moment I met you. And that aura you talk about, it's all around you, my friend.
Thanks very much. I do have my challenges and trying times sometimes, but I've got to, sometimes it's just that focus and to really be on target and just say, I have to be positive, right? Or I have to, because you start going down that hole, right? And when you go down further and further in that hole, it's tough to get out, right?
Oh, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Uh, Thank you, Mario. And what is the last thing that you'd like to share? A closing statement or a legacy or a news story?
Oh, wow. You know, I really, and I wanted to keep the focus on challenges and current environment here in Calgary, but I really think, Calgary has gone, it's up and down type thing, right? And we've seen it all the way through. And I've been here since, it's actually funny, next month will be 40 years that I've been in Calgary. And so I've seen it all. And Calgary always bounces back, right? Granted, granted, the bouncing back in the past has been a lot quicker than it is now. This is long and very prolonged, downturn, and it's affecting a lot of people in harsh ways. But I still think there's opportunity out there, and I think that's the key in a lot of things, is seeking the opportunities. And sometimes you have to, again, another cliche-ish, think outside of the box, but you really do. You really have to start looking at things differently and keeping your eyes open for the opportunities that are there. And there's lots, really. You know what? It's not like this town is decimated and there's nothing going on. Granted, it's tough, and especially if you're in the oil patch, it's tough, especially if you're sort of in the restaurant, maybe even the retail industry right now. But there's always opportunities to look and do things that you may not have ever considered. So it's always, always keeping your mind open. And that's the way I think one thing I've learned in the last couple of years is keeping my eyes open to doing different things, right? Yeah, granted, it's kind of in some ways attached to what I do professionally, but I can see that taking that step in another direction is always a good idea. And to keep your eyes and mind, especially your mind, open to them.
I love it. Such great advice from an amazing friend.
Ah, thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Mario. Thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Everyone, that was my dear friend, Mario Toneguzzi. Very cool guy, an amazing Canadian. Thanks for joining us today on Cat's Track, and we look forward to seeing you next time.